Listen to me. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself to show up every single day with intention, with fire, with purpose. You weren't born to be average. You weren't put on this earth to just exist. You were born to be great. And greatness requires sacrifice. Greatness requires pain. Greatness requires that you lock in and never let go. Taking responsibility is the first and most important step on the path to success. It's easy to look around and blame your circumstances, your past, your upbringing, your environment, or even the people around you. It's easy to say, I'm not where I want to be because of them, or I didn't get the opportunity I deserved. But as long as you keep pointing the finger outward, you give away your power. You hand over control of your life to everything and everyone else. And when you do that, you stay stuck. You stay trapped in a cycle of excuses and frustration. Real growth begins when you look in the mirror and say, if it's going to happen, it's up to me. This doesn't mean that life is fair. It's not. Some people are born with more advantages, more resources, and more support. But that's not the point. The point is, whatever hand you were dealt, it's your responsibility to play it to the best of your ability. That's where power lives. Because when you take full ownership of your choices, your actions, your results, then you unlock the ability to change your life. As long as you blame someone else, you're saying they're in charge. But when you say, no, this is on me, you take the wheel. You step into the driver's seat of your destiny. Every time you make an excuse, you're building a wall between yourself and the life you want. Excuses feel good in the moment. They justify inaction. They comfort you when you fail, but they don't serve you. They keep you small, and worse, they lie to you. Because most of the time, the problem isn't the excuse you're making. The problem is the standard you set for yourself. When you raise your standard, when you demand more from yourself, when you hold yourself accountable, suddenly excuses don't fit into your mindset anymore. You stop saying, I can, and start asking, if I can. Taking responsibility means owning not just your wins, but your losses. It means looking at your failures and saying, what could I have done differently? It means being brutally honest with yourself about your work ethic, your focus, your attitude, and your habits. It means doing the hard internal work, because you know the external success starts with what's going on inside. You can't fix what you won't face. And if you can't take responsibility for your role and where you are, then you can't change it. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your parents, not your friends, not your followers. It's on you. That's not a punishment. That's a gift, because that means you don't have to wait. You don't have to ask for permission. You don't need someone else to believe in you before you act. You get to decide. You get to move. You get to build. You get to rise. Responsibility isn't about blame. It's about power. It's about ownership. It's about control. It's about standing up and saying, my life is my job. My goals are my job. My mindset, my growth, my discipline, that's all on me. It's not always fun. It's not always easy, but it is always necessary. Because the moment you accept full responsibility is the moment you take full control. And that's the moment everything starts to change. Recognizing your potential is not about arrogance. It's not about walking around thinking you're better than everyone else. It's about understanding that there's something unique inside of you, something powerful, something irreplaceable. Too many people go through life never tapping into that potential because they don't believe it's there. They've been told they're not good enough, not smart enough, not talented enough. And after hearing that long enough, they start to believe it. But the truth is, every single person has a gift. Every single person has something they were put here to do. And the first step in unlocking that is believing that it's there in the first place. You have to stop doubting yourself. You have to stop shrinking your dreams to match your circumstances. You have to stop settling for average just because the people around you are comfortable with it. Just because you failed before doesn't mean you're a failure. Just because you haven't reached your goals yet doesn't mean you're not capable. Potential doesn't disappear because of delay. It's still inside you, waiting on you to wake up and go after it. But potential alone isn't enough. Having potential is like having a loaded weapon. You got the power, but if you don't aim and fire, it's useless. You can't keep walking around with potential and no results. You can't keep talking about what you could do, what you should do, what you might do one day. Potential is only valuable when you put in the work to develop it. It's not about talent. It's about hustle. It's about effort. It's about discipline. It's about taking what's inside of you and using it, stretching it, sharpening it every single day. Recognizing your potential also means seeing past your current situation. Maybe you're broke. Maybe you're in a bad environment. Maybe nobody around you believes in you. It's okay. You can still believe in yourself. You can still ride. You can still grind. No, sometimes the people around you won't see your vision because they weren't giving your dream. That dream was given to you for a reason. And your job is to protect it, pursue it, and prove it. You've got to remind yourself daily that you are capable of more. You've got to feed your mind with words that build, not break. You've got to get around people who challenge you, who call you higher, who won't let you stay comfortable. Because if you're always the smartest, the strongest, the most driven person in the room, you're in the wrong room. You need to be around people who push you to tap into your next level. You've also got to silence the voice in your head that tells you you're not enough. That voice will always be there, but you don't have to listen. Talk back to it. Remind yourself of who you are, of what you survived, of what you're capable of. You made it this far, not by accident, but because there's something inside of you that refuses to quit. That's your potential. That is your power. When you recognize your potential, you stop settling for less than you deserve. You stop letting fear dictate your choices. You stop waiting for the perfect time and start creating a time. You begin to walk differently, think differently, act differently. Because you know that you weren't made to just get by. You were made to leave a mark. And that starts with recognizing the fire inside of you and choosing to light it every day. And fighting for your dream is not a one-time decision. It's a daily battle. It's waking up every single morning and choosing to go after what you want, even when everything around you tells you to quit, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when no one else sees what you see. The truth is, your dream is not going to fall into your lap. Nobody is going to hand it to you. Life doesn't reward the lazy, the hesitant, or the inconsistent. Life rewards the relentless, the ones who fight, the ones who refuse to back down, the ones who keep showing up when everyone else has gone home. A dream is fragile. It can die in silence. It can die in doubt. But if you protect it, if you feed it with action and discipline, it will grow. It will transform into something real. But you have to want it bad enough to suffer for it. You have to want it bad enough to sacrifice for it. You have to be willing to pay the price, because the price will always be high. Whether it's time, comfort, money, or relationships, your dream will demand everything from you. The question is, are you willing to give it everything? Most people love the idea of success, but they don't love what it costs. They want the lifestyle, but they don't want the grind. They want the results, but they don't want the process. They say they have a dream, but when it gets hard, they fold. They say they want it, but they don't want it bad enough to bleed for it. And that's the difference between the dreamers and the doers. The doers fight. The doers push through pain. The doers keep going even when motivation is gone. They operate on purpose, not feelings. Fighting for your dream means embracing rejection, criticism, and failure, not as reasons to stop, but as fuel to go harder. It means getting back up every time life knocks you down. It means being misunderstood. It means being underestimated. It means doing the work in silence when nobody's watching and nobody's clapping. It means being your own motivation when support is nowhere to be found. That's the fight. That's the struggle. And that's where the transformation happens. You don't grow in comfort. You grow when you're stretched. You grow when you're tired, when you're broke, when you're alone. And you still keep grinding. You grow when you're on the edge of quitting, but something inside of you won't let you. That's what fighting for your dream looks like. It's not glamorous. It's gritty. It's painful. It's real. But that's what makes the victory worth it. That's what makes the dream feel alive. Because you didn't just stumble into success. You earned it. You bled for it. You fought for it. And here's the thing. When you fight for your dream, you inspire others to fight for theirs. You become the example. You become the blueprint. People look at you and say, if they can do it, maybe I can too. But it starts with the decision to never give up, no matter what. It starts with the decision to block out the noise, tune into your vision, and move with purpose. Because your dream is waiting. It's waiting on you to step up, to stop talking, and to start swinging. The fight won't be easy, but it will be worth it. Because what you're chasing isn't just a goal, it's who you're becoming in the process. Getting comfortable being uncomfortable is one of the hardest but most necessary shifts you can make in life. Most people spend their whole existence trying to avoid discomfort. They run from pain, from pressure, from uncertainty. They look for the easy way out, the smoothest path, the lowest resistance. But what they don't realize is that comfort is a trap. It's a slow death. It keeps you stuck in the same place, living the same life, year after year. Nothing grows in comfort. Growth only happens when you step into unfamiliar territory and stretch beyond what you think you're capable of. Discomfort is the signal that you're moving. It's the sign that you're doing something different, something bold, something that matters. If you feel nervous, if you feel scared, if you're doubting yourself, that's not weakness. That's the process of transformation. That's the fire that refines you. Because greatness doesn't show up when you're relaxed. It shows up when you're challenged. It shows up when you're pushed to your limits and you choose to keep going. You got to rewire your mind to see discomfort as a friend, not an enemy. That fear of failure, that's proof you're doing something worthwhile. The anxiety before you take a risk, that's your body preparing to level up. Don't run from those feelings. Lean into them. Embrace them. Use them. Because every time you face discomfort and keep moving, you build resilience. You build confidence. You build power. You teach yourself that you can do hard things. And once you understand that, you become unstoppable. People who achieve big things aren't fearless. They just learn how to move forward in spite of fear. They've learned that discomfort is temporary, but the reward on the other side is lasting. They've trained themselves to take the shot, have the hard conversation, do the extra work, wake up early, stay late, and sacrifice what's easy for what's worth it. That's the difference between those who grow and those who plateau. Growth-minded people know that if they're not a little uncomfortable, they're not growing. When you're chasing something bigger than yourself, you have to be willing to do things you've never done. That means you're going to feel awkward. You're going to feel like you don't belong. You're going to feel like you're out of place. That's part of the process. New levels bring new challenges. And the only way to become the kind of person who can handle the next level is by surviving the discomfort of the current one. You can't get stronger lifting the same weight every day. You got to increase the pressure. You got to embrace the stretch. Most breakthroughs don't come when you're calm and everything's going your way. Come when you're frustrated, when you're tired, when you're doubting yourself. But you don't quit. They come in the chaos and the struggle and the pain. That's where the real transformation lives. That's where the old version of you dies and the new version is born. But only if you stay in it. Only if you stop looking for the exit and start pushing through. Discomfort is not the enemy of success. It's the prerequisite. If you want more, you gotta be more. If you want change, you gotta change. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. They want results without risk. They want growth without the grind. But it doesn't work like that. Every goal worth having will require you to give up something. Maybe it's your pride. Maybe it's your comfort. Maybe it's your fear of looking foolish. But whatever it is, if you're not willing to let it go, then you're not ready to rise. Turning pain into power is one of the most powerful things a person can do. Everyone goes through pain. Everyone experiences loss, failure, betrayal, disappointment, and heartbreak. Pain is a universal part of life. But what separates the strong from the weak is not who feels pain, but who chooses to rise through it. Pain will either break you or build you depending on how you respond to it. You can let it destroy you, or you can decide to use it as fuel. You can let it silence you, or you can let it sharpen you. Pain can be the end of your story, or it can be the start of your transformation. Most people try to avoid pain. They numb it, ignore it, deny it, or run from it. But pain has a purpose, trying to teach you something. It's trying to wake you up. It's trying to reveal your strength. When you stop avoiding pain and start listening to it, you begin to understand. It's not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. That heartbreak, it taught you what love is supposed to feel like. That failure, it taught you how to get better. That loss, it reminded you of what matters most. Pain refines you. It reveals who you really are under pressure, and it shows you what you're capable of surviving. There's a version of you that only shows up when things fall apart. You don't find that version of yourself in success or comfort. You find it in the fight, in the struggle, in the moment when everything you thought you needed is gone and you realize you're still standing. That's power. That's strength. That's resilience. And once you discover that part of yourself, once you understand that you can go through fire and come out stronger on the other side, you stop fearing pain. You start welcoming the lessons it brings. Turning pain into power means refusing to be a victim. It means looking at your past and saying, I'm not defined by what happened to me. I'm defined by how I respond to it. You take that energy and you use it to push forward. You use it to fuel your vision, to light your fire, to keep you grinding when you feel like giving up. Some of the greatest successes are built on the backs of the greatest pain. Some of the strongest people you ever meet are the ones who have suffered the most and decided to rise anyway. You don't have to like the pain. You don't have to pretend it doesn't hurt. But you do have to make a decision. You can let it keep you stuck, or you can let it shape you. You can use it to build your mindset, to toughen your spirit, to sharpen your focus. You start showing up with a different kind of drive when you've been through something. You stop playing around with your potential when you know what it's like to lose. Pain gives you perspective. It gives you hunger. It gives you an edge that comfort will never give you. The world may not always give you what you deserve, but pain gives you the opportunity to create your own power. You take the rejection, the disappointment, the frustration, and you turn it into grit. You turn it into work ethic. You turn it into purpose. You take the tears and the sleepless nights, and you let them remind you of what you're fighting for. You let them build you. You let them fuel your mission. You don't run from the pain. You run with it, because once you learn how to turn pain into power, nothing can stop you. Nothing can break you. Nothing can break you. You become a force that grows stronger with every hit you take. Keep showing up. That's it. That's the key most people overlook. Not talent, not luck, not connections, just consistency. Just the decision to show up again and again. No matter how tired you are, no matter how discouraged you feel, no matter how many times you fail, keep showing up when it's boring. Keep showing up when it's lonely. Keep showing up when it's lonely. Keep showing up when it feels like no one notices, no one cares, no one believes. Because the truth is, success doesn't come to the person who works the hardest once. It comes to the person who works consistently, even when it doesn't seem like it's paying off. There are going to be days when your motivation disappears. Days when doubt creeps in and whispers that you're wasting your time. Days when progress is so slow, you can't even tell if you're moving forward. That's when most people quit. Not because they weren't capable, but because they couldn't handle the silence, the waiting, the invisible grind. But if you can keep going when nothing is happening, if you can keep showing up when everything you said stop, that's when you separate yourself. That's when you prove. That's when you prove that you want it more than the pain of pushing for it. It's easy to show up when you're excited. Easy to show up when you're winning. But champions are built on the days they want to stay in bed. On the days they feel broken, frustrated, unseen. Showing up when it's hard is what makes you strong. That's what builds the character, the resilience, the mental toughness that lasts. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. Consistency is showing up without applause, without credit, without immediate results. You do it because you're committed to the vision, not because the moment feels good. You don't always need to have the best plan. You don't need to have it all figured out, but you do need to move. You do need to act. You need to keep planting seeds. Some of them won't grow. Some of them will take longer than you expected. But the only way you ever see the harvest is if you keep planting. You keep building. You keep building. You keep showing up, papasa. Amatamamani. And eventually your effort compounds. Eventually the grind pays off. Eventually you become undeniable. Not because you had a smooth journey, but because you refuse to stop. Most people quit too early. They give up on the 5th rep when the breakthrough was coming on the 6th. They walk away from the process right before the reward. They talk themselves out of their own greatness. But the ones who make it, they show up broken. They show up scared. They show up tired. They show up unsure, but they still show up. Every day they lace up. They clock in. They lean into the work, even when they don't see the light yet. They trust the process. They believe in the vision, even when the results haven't caught up yet. Every step you take adds up. Every rep, every early morning, every late night, Every time you say no to distractions and yes to the mission, it adds up. It builds something inside you that no one can take away. Not failure, not setbacks, not critics. Because when you show up for yourself every day, you become your own proof. You no longer need validation. You no longer need permission. You build quiet confidence, the kind that comes from doing the work, rain or shine. So show up when it's hard. Show up when it's inconvenient. Show up when the only person clapping for you is you. Show up because your future self is counting on. Because the version of you that's on the other side of the grind can't be reached by showing up once in a while. It takes daily effort. It takes patience. It takes heart. And it takes an unshakable decision to never back down, no matter what. Because at the end of the day, it's not about what the world gave you. It's about what you gave yourself. The time, the effort, the pain, the focus, the consistency. You owe it to yourself to see how far you can go. You owe it to yourself to show the world who you really are. You owe it to yourself to stop making excuses and start making moves. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to do it for you. It's on you. You got one life, one shot, one chance to leave your mark. So dig deep, rise up, and go get what's yours. You owe it to yourself.